tell me your name, your age, where you grew up in Harbour Grace, and your connection to Harbour Grace.
Now, my name is Hazel Yetman. And what else have I got to say?
And how old are you?
I'll be 99 on the 18th of November.
And where are you from?
From Harbour Grace.
And where were you born?
Harbour Grace.
Yeah, and at your home or the hospital?
There was no hospitals then unless you went to St. John's.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had to go on a train.
Yes. And what year were you born?
1920.
So during 1920, the Great Depression was in Harbour Grace. Well, it affected the whole world.
Yeah.
What was it like for you to grow up in that period?
Not very nice.
No.
No.
Tell me a bit about it. Did they not have jobs? How did you eat?
And my dad always went to sea.
Mm-hmm.
And if the vessel was lost, when he come home there'd be no money. So you had to try to get along the best way you could. You never had too much money. So, but we managed anyhow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And where did you go to school?
First I went to school, to the high school, Anglican, the Anglican, but it wasn't called Anglican then.
No, what was
St.
it called?
Paul's School. Mm-hmm. And then in later years I went down to the United, because I was United. Mm-hmm. And you had to go to your own school. Mm-hmm. And that was down in Radley Hall. You know where them apartments are now? They're at the top of Victoria Street. Mm-hmm. Well, that's where I went to school.
Mm-hmm. And what was school like for you?
Oh, school. We used to have a grand time in school.
What subjects did you study?
We took arithmetic. That's what we used to call it. English, geography, spelling, and I think that's it.
What was your favorite subject?
Arithmetic. Math they calls it today, but that's what we called it. Yeah.
And what grade did it go up to?
I went to grade 7. No, grade 8.
Grade 8.
Grade 8, yeah.
And how old were you when you started to work?
I was really 16, but I went to work in September, and I was 17 in November.
And where did you go to work to?
To Gardens.
And where would that be today?
Well, it's here in Harbour Grace, but where can I tell you where it's to? See, it was burned, the fire, okay? That was burnt down.
Mm-hmm. And what were your duties? What did you do for work?
What I do for work?
Mm-hmm.
A bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's a right way to say that.
So you
I looked after children, I scrubbed floors and brought up coals and looked after the house and that and cooked. I did a bit of everything.
What would children do for fun while you were growing up?
What?
What would children do for fun?
Fun?
Mm-hmm.
We used to play rounders, and that's what they call, I believe, soccer, is it today? Or soccer football?
Probably soccer. Like kicking the ball?
No.
No.
Had a bat.
Oh, baseball.
Baseball. And we used to play hide and seek. We used to make our own fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There was an earthquake and a tsunami in Newfoundland. Do you remember it?
Yeah, I remember that, all right. I was stood outside of Mr. Ash's store, folded hands to myself, and everything shook. And Mr. Ash came out, he said, "What are you doing, girls?" I said, "We're not doing nothing." "What was that?" Well, he says, "I don't know." So went over across the street over to Violet's because she lived over across from the store. And Mrs. Adams says, what was that? We said, we don't know. She says, the dishes. And the sideboard, you'd call it then, shook. We said, we don't know. And then afterwards we heard that it was an earthquake. And the great big waves came in over. And that was on November 18, 1929.
Now, while you were 12 years old, Amelia Earhart came to Harbour Grace.
Yeah.
Do you remember the buzz around town while that was going on? And did you get to see her?
Oh, well, Amelia Earhart. Oh, then if we'd heard a plane, we'd be gone on over to go to the airport. Yeah. Oh, yes, saw Amelia. See her getting in the plane, see her getting out.
Was everybody excited?
What?
Was everybody excited? Were you excited to see it?
Oh, yes. I mean, there was something wonderful, plane coming in, pitching, and we tried to get in to see her when she'd land.
That's cool.
And then if she was going to take off a certain time, we tried to get there to see him taking off.
Was the airfield popular?
Oh, yes. Yeah, yeah.
So it was almost a source of entertainment.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Now, the wars.
Uh,
The Second World War broke out in 1939.
yeah, in September.
What was the attitude in Harbour Grace during that
Oh,
time?
well, I was down the garden scene working. And Dr. Roy came up, that was Miss Garden's brother. He came up and told us war was broke out. Everyone was, I don't know how to describe it. Yes.
And how did the war impact you and your family?
Well, my brother George, he joined up. My dad was over twice in the Merchant Navy. He was over taking over the whalers and stuff. And Pop, we'll call him Ralph, he joined up in 1940. He was in Halifax. He went to Halifax to go to work, and he was working. And he joined up in December 1940. And he came home in 44.
Was World War I still fresh in everybody's mind?
Oh, I imagine. You see, I didn't know nothing about that. No, but I imagine it was when they said war because they know what people went through. Yeah, yeah.
What were some of the things people did at home in Harbour Grace to contribute to the war?
Do what?
What did they do at home to contribute?
Well, see, the women used to knit socks and then send them overseas for the soldiers and the sailors and the stuff they have. Oh, yes, I knit socks. And Nan knit. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, you had a husband,
I
a father,
a brother, and a sister.
all in the Second
And
World War.
And two first cousins in
And
the
two
war.
first cousins.
Yeah.
Did you get to hear from them while they were overseas, and how did you hear from them?
Well, I'd heard from my husband after, but you didn't hear all the time. You couldn't tell him where you were or anything like that. If you had anything in it that affected the war, we'll say, that was cut out. The letter was read, see, before it went to whoever you were sending it to. If there's anything in it that shouldn't have been in it, that'll be cut out.
What is something special that your husband sent to you from overseas?
Of something special.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what am I
The
going to tell you?
tulips.
What?
The tulips.
The tulips, yeah.
So
Yes, that's right.
Tell that story.
Yeah, he sent me over, I believe it was 100 tulips. Oh, I had a beautiful garden when they all came up and got and bloomed.
And did you know where they came from at that time?
Well, I really didn't, but afterwards, when I come to realise it, I knew then. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, in 1949, Newfoundland joined Canada.
Yeah.
What was the buzz around Harbour Grace during that time?
Well, some was for it and some wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did they voice their opinions?
What?
How did they voice their opinions? Were there meetings? Was it in the newspaper?
Well, see, some they figured on we'd be with the taxes and all that. You know, we'd have to pay taxes and stuff like that. But a lot was looking at it, you were getting the baby bonus, as they used to call it. And old people was getting a bit more money for the help of them out.
Yeah.
But some was right against it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what did you think?
I don't know. I guess I was tickled to death to get a baby bonus.
Now, do you remember much about the SS Kyle? Do you remember when it was a...
She used to go back and forth to Labrador.
Yeah, did you know anybody that was on the Kyle?
No.
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 What about Pop coming home?
Yeah, he came across the Gulf and the Kyle to get married.
And who did he marry? No. But the Kyle ran aground in 1967. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember.
You don't remember when it broke down and sailed down and got stuck? You know where it's to now?
Yeah, where it's to now.
Do you remember when it got stuck?
No, I don't.
No?
Because I wasn't interested in it then, I suppose, and that.
Yes.
Yes. I remember going down for the seal fishery and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What were some jobs in Harbour Grace that people did while you were growing up?
Wasn't very many jobs for them to do, but they worked on the roads in the poor times and got 6 cents a day.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they had to live on. And the gravel roads, that's what they worked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But and then there was the dock. That was, well, it's there now. They used to take up the vessels and cork them over, you know, repair them again. And they'd put them back in the water again. That's my grandfather. That's what he used to do. He was an engineer. He had to get up in the morning early and go there and put the steam up and put the vessel out if she had to go out in the morning or bring her in if she had to be done.
Now, let's go back to your youth again and talk a little bit about the Regatta. The Regatta is the second oldest sporting event in North America.
Oh, yes.
When Regatta would happen in Harbour Grace, was it a very exciting time?
Oh, you'd be saving up a bit of money, trying to get a bit of money to go to the Regatta. And you'd walk in over the hills and you'd spend the day, you'd have a basket. Some people used to cook the corned beef and cabbage. And there's always little white fires. And you could with the pots on it. Some more to bring in the saddles. Oh, we used to have a wonderful time for the regatta.
That's fun. Now, there was lots of businesses in Harbour Grace. There was lots of big family names, like the Munns and the Archibalds. Do you remember their businesses?
The Archibalds, they used to have a boot and shoe factory.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the businesses that you remember going to growing up?
And the Munns, well, they had the coal shed.
Yeah. What about the newspaper?
The newspaper Standard.
Yeah, do you remember
that
the
was
Standard?
Monnoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was there to the corner of Victoria Street.
And how much was a paper during that time?
I think there were 2 cents.
2 cents.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, do you remember Radley Hall and Radley offices?
The what?
The Ridley?
Wrigley.
Do you remember those big houses?
I don't remember. No, I don't remember Wrigley's. Oh, I sure.
And you said before how you left during the 40s after you got married and went to Halifax.
Went to Halifax in 43.
Yeah. While you were there, the Great Fire happened in Harbour Grace.
Yeah.
Do you remember how did you find out about it while you were living in Halifax?
When I'll always remember when they said Harbour Grace was on fire, I said, I wonder where Mum and Dad is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they were all right.
But they were all right afterwards. They sent a message.
That's good. Was it in a telegraph or was it
what do you call it?
Telegraph, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, telegraph.
Yeah.
And when you came home again.
Oh, I seen a big difference.
And what was some of the buildings that you noticed were gone?
Oh, they were all gone down on the waterfront. And then the United Church was gone. And all that.
And do you think that affected people in Harbour Grace?
What?
Do you think that affected the people
in
Harbour
did.
Grace?
Yes, it did. Because it put a lot out of work. Yeah.
That was a hard time, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, what else? Okay, the fray. Your husband's grandfather was... Tell me about him.
Years ago, we'll see the Catholics and the Protestants never got along. But the Orange Society, the day after Christmas Day, St. Stephen's Day, they prayed up to, oh my God, forgetting that now.
Water Street.
Straight up Water Street up to Pippi's Lane. It's up there just above, Benjamin Street. And, this time they prayed it up, and the Catholics was there waiting for him.
And what happened?
And, there's 2 or 3 shot, I think. And then Ralph's grandfather, he didn't die right away. He lived till the next year, I think. But it's true that he died.
And where did he die?
He died at home.
And tell me about the chair, because we got the chair. So say a little bit about the chair now.
The what?
The chair that he died in?
Oh.
Just talk about how he come and died in the chair.
Died in... Well, I don't know. I mean, they taken out of bed, I suppose, and put him in the chair and that. But I don't know how he died.
Yeah.
But it's true that's what caused it. And Mrs. Yetman, she never ever seen her father. She was only 6 months old when that happened.
Wow.
Yeah. Did you see that great big headstone in a cemetery? That great big high over on the left-hand side as you go down, not too far from the gate.
Oh, your traditions. Tell me a bit about your traditions. Your Christmas traditions.
Oh, Christmas. Oh, we used to have a wonderful time Christmas. You wouldn't have no turkey or anything like that for your Christmas Day dinner. But if you had hens, you'd cut the head off of them, one and have that. And then we go jannying. And this night I was out jannying. Years ago, we used to make you bread in the night. And this woman, she let us in, and she was after making her bread. And she had it lay down on the couch wrapped up. I went in satin too. Oh, always have a wonderful. And you get your Christmas stocking with an apple and an orange and a few grapes and a few candies. That was a wonderful thing. You run down in the morning and get your stocking and run back, get in the bed and eat it. And you never saw nothing until Christmas morning. Excuse me, tree or nothing else. When you got up Christmas morning, there was the tree and all.
What do you think would be your favourite place to go in Harbour Grace?
What would be my favourite place?
Yeah. Was there any houses that you really loved to look at? Did you like being down by the water?
No, I don't know.
No?
No, I don't know what to tell you there.
No?
Oh.
Well, that's all right. Of all the events that took place in your 99 years, 99 of them involving Harbour Grace, what is a memory that stands out in your mind
No.
that happened in Harbour Grace during your lifetime?
No, I don't know. I wasn't here for the fire.
No. What about the building of the churches?
Building the what?
Of the churches, because they built the churches I don't know how many times. 3 or 4. Do you remember any of the churches being built?
Oh, it is. I mean, when the United Church is up there now, the other one was burnt down in the fire. And I think, now I'm not sure about that we were the last 2 to get married in it. I'm not sure about that, because the winter we got married, the church was closed because there's something wrong with the furnace.
Okay.
And they used to have church up in St. Paul, up in Cocklan Hall. But they opened it up because I wanted to get married in church. But it was cold, there was no heater or nothing on. So I say the churches, the different churches. I like going to church and...
Church at that time was very social.
Yeah.
That's how you got out and seen all your
You
friends.
always went to church, everything was going ahead, you went to it. And, yeah.
Did you find at that time the community did a lot of things together?
Oh, yes.
What were some of the community events that you would go to?
We used to have the sale of work. That'd be on for 2 days.
And what's that?
That's what they have, well, they don't have it now, but the salads, you know, have it in the fall of the year.
Okay.
And I guess you've been on, so you used to have them.
Fall Bazaar.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? Yeah.
I suppose, but they used to call it that though. I forget now what they call it. But the sale of work, you know, and they'd have not afternoon teas, because you'd have your ham and your salads. And then they have little tables with different things on it. Fancy work and crochet work and knitted stuff and why, and then they'd have cookies and stuff to sell and jam and pickles and stuff like that.
And it'd be a 2-day event.
And well, lately there's only one.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was growing up, there used to be two.
And where was this to? Where did it
Did
take
you have
place?
it in the hall?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, have it in the hall.
And where was your house to while you were growing up? Where did you live?
I lived on Harbour Street. You know where Martin's Lane is too?
Yep.
Well, over on the other side of the street, just 2 or 3 houses down. The house is torn down now. That's where we lived. Right across from the school. All I had to do was just when the bell stopped running.
And how many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had 3 brothers and 1 sister.
And were you the oldest?
No, Brother George was the oldest. And Dill was next, and then I was next.
And kids back then helped a lot.
Oh, yes. We used to have to bring so much water Mondays for your mother to wash. And the tank was run just across from Martin's Lane. So we never had very far to bring the water, but we had to get up Monday mornings and bring enough water for Mum to do her washing. Yeah.
And you said earlier you went to grade 8. Did school go any further? Or is that where it stopped?
No, you go to the grade 9, grade 11, 12, yeah. There's no grade 12 then.
No.
You went to grade 11.
And why did you stop at grade 8?
Well, more or less I had to get it from work. Because, your father, he wasn't earning enough to support you then. He wasn't getting no money.
And though you worked when you were 16,
Yeah.
you weren't making money for yourself. You were making money for your family.
Well, to a certain extent, yeah. Yeah, but if I wanted anything for myself, I bought it. And,
So your mother would have been born in 1880s?
Yes, I suppose. I forget now. I did know.
And what do you think her role was in the family? Because you said how your father was gone a lot fishing.
Well, she reared us. Mum reared her because Dad was always gone. And she was the one that had to look after us, so she reared us. More so. Dad come home. He might be home first for a week and gone again. Yeah.
And so did she take on a lot of the roles, like doing stuff
Oh,
around
yes, she
the
had
house
to.
and farming?
She had to do it all, Yeah, whatever was on the go, she had to do it.
What's a tradition that you took part in when you were young?
What?
What's a tradition that you did while you were young that you wish people still did today?
No, I don't know. Yeah. What do you mean by?
Like, when you were young, for example, you were just talking about the 2-day bazaar event.
Yeah.
Where everybody would get out and socialize.
Oh,
and
yes, yeah.
shop together. And
talk and have a meal together, and yeah.
Do you think that town should still be doing those types of things?
I think so.
Together?
I think that I think they should. I don't know about having it 2 days, but they should have it for 1 day. Because people will go and they get together and that. But there's none of that now. Are they sisters? That I don't know.
No. Now, what about the railway? Do you remember when the railway was built? Or was it always around?
Always around.
Did you travel much on the train?
No.
No?
I travelled in 1940. I had to go to St. John's, that my appendix out. And what a stormy night it was. And my brother George they had me on a stretcher and they'd put me on the horse's slide and get me down to the station. And only the train was late. I wouldn't have made it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how did you know it was your appendix?
Well, the doctor came up. See, I was night before I was sick, and Mum got the doctor up, and he came up around dinner time. He says she got to get on the train this evening. He said that's her appendix, and she got to go. He said she don't get on the train today. He says I don't know what's going to happen.
And how old were you?
I was 20.
Were you scared?
Well, I mightn't have known anything about it then. It was as bad, as they... But anyhow, they made it. Only the train was late, though. They wouldn't have made it.
Did you go by yourself?
Oh, no, Dad and Uncle Ed, Dad's brother. Yes, they'd put me in the baggage car, see, on a stretcher.
God.
Yeah.
That's traumatizing. That's scary.
Oh, that was a hard night. And oh, was it ever blowing and snowing and... Yes.
And then you got to St. John's.
I got there and got down to the general and had no bed. They'd take me to the Grace. And he put me right in under and did the job on me right away.
Wow. And you woke up and you were fine.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm here ever since.
Here ever since. So you must have did a good job.
Yeah.
How was medical care different then?
Well, it's only just the doctor. If you had anything, you had to go to St. John's and you had to go on the train. There's two doctors, Dr. Strap and Dr. Crown. And half the time they had to walk. Yes, and in later years they got the car and that, well. Yes.
Now, the airstrip, going back to the airstrip, we talked about how it was almost a source of entertainment back then with the planes coming and the planes going. But I know a funny story about you in the airfield. Tell me about the first time you tried to drive a car. Where did you learn how to drive to? Hey, you didn't think I knew that,
did you? Yes, I was learning that, and I took the airport to turn her around at all the airport.
And where did you go? Where'd you drive the car?
That's one time I go down Bristol Soap and put her down the ditch. That's it. No more driving for me.
How old were you then?
Well, I was married.
You were in your 40s, I'd say.
I suppose, yeah.
And Pop said that's
well,
enough for you.
Lucas was...
oh, God. In my lifetime.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. No offense, Nan, but I can't picture you driving.
Yes, oh, yes, it's not, I mean, it wasn't all that long ago.
No.
Oh.
That's funny.
That's it.
Now, what else? How about, let's talk about Pop's involvement and your involvement with the Legion. Since Remembrance Day is coming up.
Yeah.
Just talk about how Pop was a bartender and stuff. So when did Pop get involved with the Legion?
he, oh boy, there you asked me something. See, he was always involved, after he came back from the war, involved with the Legion. But when they opened up their club, they asked him, George Sweetapple went first with the bartending, and then they asked Ralph Popple to go. Now, I don't know what year that was. Got sick, we'll say, and had to give it up.
Mm-hmm. And did he enjoy it?
And sometimes, but I didn't enjoy it.
And why didn't you enjoy it?
What?
Why didn't you enjoy it?
Because he was gone all night long, sure. And then he used to have to carry the money.
Mm.
And
do you think it was important for Pop to stay involved with the Legion when he came home?
oh, I think so, yes. Yeah. Because that belonged to them. Yeah. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what Pop did overseas, or what you know that Pop did overseas. So he left from Halifax, did his training, came back home and got married.
Yeah.
Then he went overseas again.
Diane was 3 days old when he got the call. I was in the hospital when he got the call to go overseas. And she was 2 years old the day he arrived home.
And where did he go overseas?
Well, he went to Holland and Germany, and I don't know where else he went.
Can you tell us the story about how his eardrum got damaged?
Well, that's the way him and his buddy used to call him. I don't know his name. They seen this, what do you call it? God, I forget what. They seen this coming.
A grenade, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, something like that. You know? Mm-hmm. They seen this coming, and he jumped. And only he jumped, he would have been killed. His buddy was killed, and he got the blast in his ear. So one of his ears, he was deaf. When the sergeant came up, he was on the ground, out. Oh, we said, Yetman, what's wrong? So they got him up and got him to the hospital. Only for that, only he jumped, he wouldn't have. He wouldn't have made that. We didn't know nothing about that.
No.
Until later years, you know, he...
Was he open to talking to you about the war?
No, he never used to talk about the war.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Do you think that it changed him?
What?
Do you think that it changed him?
Well, to a certain extent. I did, yes. Yeah.
I think my last question I'll ask you is, why do you think it's so important for the youth to remember the wars and the people who it was impacted?
The what?
Why do you think it's important for the youth to remember the wars and remember what happened?
Remember what happened? Well, I don't know what to say about that.
Well,
you mean the lead, what it is today?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, I mean, they can't tell anything about the war because they don't know nothing about it. Mm-hmm. See? Mm-hmm. Only what they hear, you know, bits and pieces. And so some don't agree with it and some more do.
And I guess they didn't talk about it, so
and he didn't talk, no.
So it wasn't something that they...
No, he never used to say anything about the war.
No.
Nothing, no.
And do you think that was the case for a lot of men and women that went overseas?
Well, a lot. I never heard my father talk. about it.
Did you know that he was in World War One when you were?
Oh, yes, yeah.
And was Remembrance Day a big deal then?
Well, there wasn't services now.
No.